pieces that are going to be coming together with it. We're not only talking about a potential for snow, so that will be the initial thing that we'll watch kind of moving into our western counties late tonight, but then you get a transition over to rain, and then you get another transition back over to snow as temperatures vary with this system. We're going to be on the warmer side of it. We haven't been able to say that with a lot of our snowmakers here the last couple of rounds of activity that we've seen over the last couple of weeks. So this is a little bit different of a setup. It's going to cause some of those travel impacts for you, not only if you're going to be out and about late tonight, maybe you work an overnight shift or things like that, and you have to be out on the roads, especially during that overnight time period. I would just plan on there being some messy travel across the region. That'll extend into tomorrow afternoon as well. And then if that's not enough, you're going to add in the wind on top of it too, where winds could gust upwards of 40 miles per hour as we go through the day tomorrow. So anything that's rain or snow is all going to be wind driven, and it's just honestly going to make it kind of miserable to spend a lot of that time outside. So that's what we're really watching as we kind of go through the course of later tonight into tomorrow. I know we had that burst of snow that came through earlier today. If you look at Doppler radar right now, everything is pretty quiet. We've got a couple isolated flurries across our eastern counties, but it's not really a ton of activity that's, going to be concerning for us here in the short term. If I zoom this out, though, you can already start to see that next system taking shape up in the Dakotas, parts of Minnesota, and that eventually is going to be diving down basically to the southeast and eventually moves just north of our area tomorrow to kind of give us that better opportunity. So I do want to walk you through your future view just to give you an idea, because there are so many moving pieces with this forecast, just so you can kind of know what to expect here, especially as we go through the rest of today. For the most part, things are quiet. You're going to have some clouds around the area, temperatures trying to warm kind of from that low 30-degree range to the mid 30s. I still think initially, as we get this moisture moving in, it's predominantly going to be in the form of snow. It's going to be a wet snow, and with temperatures still warming kind of in that mid to upper 30-degree range, you will likely get some accumulation. Probably the best spots to see accumulation will actually be on our already existing snowpack. You think things like bridges, overpasses, where it can get a little bit cooler, and that unfortunately coincides with the morning commute time tomorrow. But we're not talking about, generally speaking, a ton in the way of snowfall accumulation, because again, with temperatures above freezing, some of this will melt on contact, especially if road crews can put some stuff down prior to that morning commute time. The problem that we're going to run into, though, is that temperatures will continue to warm through the day tomorrow. So anything that they put down that may be preventative treatment may get washed away when you make that full transition over towards a cold rain. So that's what we're going to have to really kind of be mindful of as we go through the midday hours tomorrow. And then you've still got more cold air on the backside of that system. So you get that transition once again back to snow. Will you probably see a lot of accumulation out of that? No, largely just because of where our temperatures still are. You're still sitting into the mid 30s, but generally speaking, maybe upwards of an inch of snow is possible with this whole system. And then our attention will turn to some lake effects that will be possible basically starting late tomorrow night and likely lasting into parts of your Thursday as well.
You said a mouthful. That is
Yes.
a lot going on, and that's why we are deeming it a first alert weather day. Anytime our meteorologists see that weather's really going to impact, maybe not greatly, but this is definitely going to have an impact on the morning commute. That's why we call it a first alert weather day. We're going to take a quick break and see if we get any relief in the 7-day. And we're back. Erica Page is going to walk us through our 7-day forecast.
Yeah, unfortunately, I wish I had better news for the next 7 to 10 days. It's just, I mean, we cannot get out of this cold pattern. It has been probably one of the more brutal starts to the winter season that a lot of us have experienced in quite some time here in Northeast Ohio. Like I said, tomorrow temperatures will warm above freezing. That's why we're watching for that wintry mix around the area, on top of which you're going to have winds gusting upwards of 40 miles per hour. Just kind of a messy day in general. Once we transition into Thursday, this is more lake effect snow that will be possible, and we could get a couple of inches out of this, especially where you see your temperature's going to be. We're going to be back into the upper 20s. The other caveat I want to note is if you're probably like my neighborhood, you've got a lot of still ice and snow that is still probably blanketing a lot of sidewalks. Please keep in mind that even if some of that gets slushy tomorrow, you add the rain on top of it, a lot of that is going to refreeze, and so things are probably going to get pretty icy. I highly suggest if you can get out maybe even later this evening and maybe loosen up a little bit of that ice and try and clear maybe some spots on sidewalks or driveways or things like that, may not be a bad idea to do that preventatively before we start to get more of this cold air coming back in, because once it settles in, and this is going to be another Arctic blast by the weekend, it's going to be really hard to improve that temperature above freezing, and you're going to have more of these clipper systems that are coming through and continuing that opportunity that we could have a few more snow chances back in the forecast. The one that could potentially bring maybe some slightly higher snowfall totals for us, that would come through sometime late Saturday headed into Sunday. So that's kind of the next bigger system that will have our attention once we get past tomorrow's wintry mix across the area.
Yeah, obviously a little too early to talk snow totals for Saturday, but you're saying, and this is what scares people, they look at that 7-day forecast, there's snowflakes all over it. But a lot of these are what you call your clipper systems that just move really fast and we don't get a lot of snow.
Yeah, a lot of them are. I mean, that's just kind of the weather pattern we're in. The burst of cold air that's basically resting over the Great Lakes region basically allows for a highway of all these systems to just kind of track through our area. And because they're coming from the north and sourcing some of this Arctic air, you usually don't have a lot of moisture associated with these systems. And what I mean by that is like deep level moisture. So you're getting a lot of those higher snowfall totals possible. Plus they're quick hitting. They maybe last a couple of hours and then they're out of here. So they don't give you that really good opportunity to accumulate a lot in terms of snowfall. But Saturday's system may be a little bit different in that sense. And so that's why we're saying potentially that could have some slightly higher snowfall opportunities area-wide, essentially, as we get into your weekend.
We'll have to keep an eye on it. 19 First Alert meteorologist Erica Page. We'll see you at 3 o'clock.
Sounds good. See you then.
All right, take care. We do start 3.5 hours of news and First Alert weather at 3 o'clock on Channel 19, so we will see you there. Until then, I'm Dan DeRose for 19 News. Have a great afternoon.